This week on TGC News, Ruger goes backpacking, IWI slims down, and GunCon is coming. If you need gun accessories, check out Fab Defense. They have all kinds of parts for the AR platforms, like pistol grips, butt stocks, foregrips, and more. I'm really enjoying this sort of mid-range setup on my digital camo AR with the wrap stock, Gratis grip, and spike bipod. There's also flip-up sights and parts for your AK or even your pistol. From long-range setups to compact AR pistols and everything in between. Fab Defense has something for everyone. To learn more, check out fab-defense.com. Welcome back to another episode of the Gun Collective News, the only gun news show that covers things that you actually care about. My name is Jon Patton. GunCon is coming. Guys, I have been so eager to announce this. Some of you may remember an event we did called the TGC panel. We brought together some of the top content creators, put them on like a Q&A panel for you guys to interact with and ask any kind of questions you wanted to ask them. Didn't matter what it was. We also gave away mountains, just mountains of guns, gear, etc. Well, as it turns out, the TGC panel has now evolved and is now known as GunCon. Long story short, it's happening on July 25th in Grinnell, Iowa, with a VIP range day the day before at Brownell's headquarters. You'll be able to come see the latest and greatest from your favorite brands, buy some of that stuff that you've seen, which is cool because normally you can't. And then you get to know some of the top content creators out there because we're going to try to get as many of them to show up as we can. They're going to answer your questions at the GunCon panel that evening, and there's going to be food trucks. So far, we have Jared from Guns and Gadgets, Mr. Guns and Gear, Honest Outlaw, and Sean from We Like Shooting, and there's a whole bunch more coming signed up to be a part of things, and there will absolutely be a lot more coming. We will have food trucks, tons of prizes. Like I said, it's going to be rad. It's just going to be amazing. There's going to be tours of Brownells. I mean, the list goes on and on. There is no cost. It is free for you, and tickets will be up for grabs in early June. We are building that part of the website as we speak. Now, tickets will be limited, so be on your toes and keep an eye out for them to be available very, very soon. Now, how about some gun news? IWI has snuck another one in under the radar. They did it with the tactical, and they're doing it again with this one. This time, it's another expansion of the Masada pistol lineup, but not just like another tactical variant. It's called the Masada Slim, and while it does share some of the same features with the full-size Masada, this one seems to be like a shot across the bow of some of the bigger brands out there. Let's run down the specs. It is, of course, a striker-fired 9mm, because it seems like everything is anymore. And like the larger Masada, it has a modular trigger group that is serialized. It's removable from the grip module. It also is optic-ready and uses the Shield RMS pattern for that. The barrel length on this one is 3.4 inches, which is a bit larger than the normal 3.1 that we see in the Shield Plus and P365 from SIG. It comes with two mags, and both of them are 13 rounders. It's not like a flush fit 10 rounder and then like an extendo mag. This is both 13 rounders. That likely means, just like the barrel, the grip is slightly longer as well. With that extra length in two directions, it will likely be a touch heavier than the others as well, but I'm not sure that makes a huge difference at this size of gun. The other new thing is the trigger itself. Instead of a slightly like curved unit on the larger guns, this has a flat face trigger with the safety dingus in the middle. And as you can see, there's like a little lip at the bottom, like maybe a hook, whatever you want to call that, likely for consistent finger placement. The sights are a pretty standard 3-dot setup. And here we go. The price. MSRP is $450. That is a lot of value for that price point. The closest thing that I can think of in terms of pricing and also having the optic cut and decent mag capacity is the Taurus like GX4 or the G3C Toro. Both of those have mags that hold less rounds, though. If you want the Shield Plus with an optic cut, you're looking at like a $595 MSRP, and the SIG is even higher than that to get an optic cut. All that to say, there's some decent potential here. I guess time will tell if it's any good. Leave a like on the video if you want to see our review of that Masada Slim, because that would be pretty exciting. Next up, Ruger has a few new offerings in the way of the PC carbine. For those living under a rock, the PC carbine is Ruger's take on a rifle chambered in a traditionally pistol cartridge, otherwise known as a pistol caliber carbine. The things that make this gun so appealing versus AR style guns is that they have the ability to take both Ruger or Glock mags, depending on how you have it set up, and it splits into two pieces for easier transport. And now Ruger has sort of turned up that last portion a notch with the help of Magpul. Magpul's backpacker stock originally came out for the 1022 takedown several years back, and it's one of the best possible setups for a takedown gun. Like, I have not seen anything that kind of works that well together. It fits like as one unit, unlike anyone else's stock for a takedown, at least that I'm aware of. That being said, they've of course adapted that for the PC carbine, and now Ruger is offering one in every color possible. Some are distributor specific, like specials. You have to go through this distributor or that one to get that color, which really only matters to your gun store. But you'll be able to grab one in gray, flat dark earth, OD green, and of course, Yawnfest black. The pricing for a normal PC carbine is a mildly offensive $760. The price with the backpacker stock is $900. They are passing the full retail value on to customers, because if you were to buy the gun and the stock separately, you'd probably be around that same price increase. It's kind of lame, but at the same time, I do really like the backpacker setup as a whole, so I don't know, whatever. Gun company's gonna gun company, I guess. I'm curious to know how many of you guys like the idea of a takedown gun. Like, does that actually matter? Because I know a lot of guys bought takedown 1022s when that came out originally, but nobody actually takes it apart. They just leave it and say, hey, it can come apart. If you actually own one, sound off down in the comments with your thoughts. Radian Weapons knows how to make good parts that provide actual value. The Ramjet for your Glock 19 Gen 3 through 5 is a match-grade drop-in fluted barrel with a built-in comp. And you can turn it up to 11 by adding the Afterburner microcompensator, which has a non-thread attachment, which makes it 50 state legal. With 115 grain ammo, you could see up to 44% reduction in recoil. To learn more about these and all the other stuff they make, go to radianweapons.com. Now, in Gundustry news this week, we've got a bunch of stuff to cover, so I'm going to try to compress it down a bit. First, we'll cover yet another contract that Winchester has taken. They were awarded $15 million to design the ammo manufacturing facility for the next generation squad weapons. This is in addition to the $20 million they were already getting paid to produce the ammo itself. I find it a bit weird that a company that had nothing to do with the design of the ammo or the guns is sort of in control of that, but I guess that was bound to happen with Winchester in charge of the Lake City plant. I am eager to see how it all shakes out, like I said, when we covered the new guns and ammo a couple weeks back. Moving on from there, we have a lot of data to unpack. First, we'll start with the background check numbers from April 22. This time around, we ended up with the third highest April on record, seems to be a trend this year, with 2.6 million background checks. That is down slightly from March, which was just over 3 million, and down from 2021, which was about 900,000 more with 3.5 million checks. To be fair, with a yearly total so far of 10.8 million checks, this is far from a crappy year. However, it is definitely down from the pandemic panic buying. I'll leave it up to you guys to comment on why that's happening. There's a lot of factors, and I'm curious. Also, as we always say, this is not a one-to-one ratio for guns sold for several reasons, but it is a good indication of trends. The NSSF has released a couple different reports that I think tell some really interesting stories about the gun industry as a whole. First, an updated total that the gun industry has contributed to the Pittman-Robertson Fund, aka the Wildlife Restoration Trust Fund. It kind of speaks for itself. It was only last August that we found out that the industry had provided $14 billion to that fund so far since its inception in, I believe, 37. Well, only a mere 8 months later, we're finding out that we have stacked another billion into that fund. Now, it does come at the cost of taxes. That's where the money comes from, excise taxes. However, it is a lot of cash, and it further proves that hunters, and in this case more specifically, the gun industry as a whole, are some of the biggest conservationists around. We provide so much funding for that. Now, the other report from NSSF is all about the overall economic impact of the gun industry. The full report can be found over on the NSSF website, so if you want to dig down into that, we are only going to pull some juicy tidbits from it. For instance, the NSSF estimates that there are 5.4 million new gun owners from 2021 alone, and on top of that, like we mentioned a minute ago, there was over 1.1 billion added to the Wildlife Restoration Trust Fund through excise taxes. They say that because of the gun industry, there are just over 375,000 jobs here in America. And that is monstrous for an arguably smaller industry. To those jobs, they estimate that there were over $21 billion in wages paid out and over $70 billion in overall economic impact. If we drill down a bit and look at the top states for economic impact in terms of overall dollars, Texas, California, Florida, Illinois, and Massachusetts take the top 5, which is interesting because some of those states suck for gun laws. And if we look at who has the most jobs, Texas, California, Florida, Pennsylvania, and Ohio are the top. I think people often forget just how big of a market California is because of their idiotic gun laws. Everybody's, oh, there's no gun stuff there, but it's huge. It's a shame, really. If we were able to rip the Band-Aid off that is bad politics, that state would become an even bigger haven for gun owners. If we're looking at growth in the industry as a whole, it's massive. Since 2008, there has been a 126% increase in jobs, a 234% increase in wages, and a 269% increase in the total impact overall. That, my friends, is incredible. I think it just goes to show you that the gun industry is stronger than it's ever been, and that should mean that we are harder to take down than ever before. I will reiterate that it is high time that companies raking in billions from consumers need to pump that money back into fighting bad laws, but that's a topic for another day. What are your thoughts on this? Have you participated in a big way in this growth, or are you still a newbie kind of trying to find your way? Me personally, I've bought guns, I've put out tons of gun content through this time, so I would say I participated. We love all gun owners here, so speak up down in the comments, and we'll talk about it. And that's it, guys. If you enjoyed this show and you want to see an ad-free version, check us out on floatplane.com. There are no promos over there. It is rad. You just click in and there's the video. And after you click the like button on this video, do that. Be sure to hit the secret affiliate links in the description. That would be a massive help for us. Tons of discounts. You guys love that. And of course, don't forget to get subscribed for more gun news every single week. And as always, thank you all for watching. See you soon. Yep, it's over, but don't worry, you can click on the video up top to watch last week's show, and the one below that is the one that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. Check them out and let me know what you think.